Welcome to Safe and Sound, a monthly podcast on cybersecurity presented by GrandPad and the Layton Podcast Network.
Welcome to Safe and Sound, the podcast that helps seniors stay informed, confident, and protected in today's digital world. I'm Sarah Wilchin, Senior Client Success Manager at GrandPad. Today we're tackling a tough but important topic: what to do if you think you've been the victim of fraud. Scams are becoming more sophisticated, like a call from someone pretending to be your bank, or a message asking for personal details that looks completely legitimate, or a pop-up that looks so official that you get fooled. It can happen to anyone, and it happens fast. In this episode, we'll walk through the steps to take the moment something doesn't feel right. You'll learn how to stay calm, protect your information, and get support when you need it most. We'll share tips for spotting red flags, for building smart digital habits, and for staying connected to people and resources who can help. Because fighting fraud isn't just about knowing the technology, it's about having the confidence and community to take action when it matters the most. I'm joined by a couple of very knowledgeable people today ready to help and provide information and resources. Derek Barksdale, GrandPad's Director of Security and Privacy, and Jay Haapala from AARP Minnesota. Jay works closely with older adults to help them recognize, report, and recover from scams. Together, we'll cover what to watch for and how to stay one step ahead of the scammers. It's great to have you both here today. Thanks for taking time to share your knowledge with us.
Sarah, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Same here, Sarah. I'm Jay with AARP, and we are a membership association for people over the age of 50. We work on many different issues that impact people's financial security and their health and well-being. When we ask people about their concerns, staying safe from fraud and identity theft is always at the top of the list. So we run a program called the Fraud Watch Network that helps people stay safer from all of these scams.
It's so great to have a resource like that out there. So thanks for joining us today, you guys. Let's dive in. I'd like to start by sort of setting the stage. Derek, we hear the term fraud used a lot, but can you help our listeners understand maybe a little bit more of what that means in this digital world?
Absolutely. Fraud happens when someone tries to deceive you, usually for money or your personal information. Fraud targeting older adults has become one of the most pressing consumer protection issues of our time. And as society ages and digital technologies become more integrated into everyday life, seniors face a growing exposure to scams that exploit trust, isolation, and just simply the unfamiliarity with rapidly changing systems. And that might look like someone pretending to send you an email that comes from a source you may trust, a fake tech support call, or even someone posing as a grandchild in need of help. The goal is always the same: to trick you into sharing something valuable. So in today's time, we want to make sure that, one, we educate seniors and that we also help them protect their personal data.
Wow, yeah, thanks for that definition. That really helps us understand the bigger picture of it all, and even if it is kind of a scary picture to look at. Jay, I know that you talked about some of the programs with AARP and that you do a lot of education around this, but what kind of scams are you seeing most often right now?
Yeah, millions of people are having billions of dollars stolen from them every year. And at AARP, I mentioned our Fraud Watch Network. We have a helpline available where people make reports. They need help navigating through the scams that they're seeing. Also, they get help if they've been victimized and had their money stolen. As a side effect of taking all of those reports, up to 2,000 calls per week, we get the chance to monitor the trends and see what kind of scams are targeting people right now. So along with the typical online shopping scams and government imposter scams, I'll highlight a few that are coming through our helpline right now. One of the fastest growing scams has to do with working from home and jobs and employment. So I was just talking with some of our volunteers this week about the texts that they're receiving, offering them very attractive work from home jobs where they can earn a lot of money and not even have to put in very much time. The benefits look great, but that scam is just designed to collect people's information, their personal information, for identity theft purposes. And then even if people start replying, they might be convinced that they need to purchase a computer or send money to buy software or who knows what, and really it's just their money being stolen. Another one that I'll highlight that has been increasing is really about people who meet online They're just chatting with folks on social media around common interests. Some of those common interests could be around making personal investments, whether that is putting money into the stock market, putting money into cryptocurrency, and they're just chatting online with other people who have the same interest. Well, that's where the scammers hang out, is in, for example, these investment affinity groups online. They're looking for victims who are also interested in using their savings and making investments. So if you're chatting with people online and they're promising that they can help you make money, make sure they're licensed and that they are who they say they are, and that they're verified, whether it's with the federal agencies that regulate investment brokers or whether it's with your state agencies.
Wow, that is great information to have and scary. And I can attest to the texts coming in about the work from home. They look very appealing and enticing, and it's very tempting to want to click on it and check out the information. But good to know to be very, very wary of those texts coming in and just watching what you put out there, even when you think you're just having a nice social conversation with people. That it's important to just be careful of what's out there. So, Derek, anything that you want to add to that?
Sure. I'll just add tech support and online scams. I think a lot of people underestimate the amount of seniors who use technology or try to use technology, especially when communicating with family members. So when online calls or pop-ups claiming that your computer is infected and demanding that you make certain payments for certain repairs, I think we have to be careful on that side of the fence also, because we use technology so much with our seniors and we want to protect them and keep them safe. And we create the sense of urgency in them to want to keep themselves safe. So scammers are always trying to utilize what we are actually educating our seniors on. So it's good to be careful from both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, that's so true. You see something pop up, oh, your computer's in danger. You think I got to take action right away so that I be sure to protect all my information. And in fact, you're doing the opposite because they're just so savvy in what they're doing in their techniques. So let's say someone realizes that they have shared information that they now wish they hadn't, or realize was a mistake, or if they've sent money. Derek, what's one of the first things they should do?
Well, I'll add a couple of things here. First, if you feel like someone has stolen your personal information, like your social security number, bank details, login credentials, passwords, you should act fast. Protect your financial information at all costs. Notify your bank, your credit card companies, ask them to monitor for suspicious activity or issue you a new card. I always issue myself or request a new card if I feel like my account has been compromised or if there has been a charge that I'm not familiar with. Also, consider a credit freeze if you feel like it's great enough for this, or a fraud alert with the credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. Always make sure that you protect your credit. Secondly, I would say secure your accounts immediately. Change your passwords for your email, your banking accounts, your social media, or any other sensitive account. Use multi-factor authentication wherever possible. And also use a password manager to generate strong passwords that are unique, that you don't have to remember, and allow the password manager to do the hard work for you. Lastly, I would say credit and identity monitoring services, AARP, Fraud Watch, Network Helpline, credit monitoring with your credit bureaus, and identitytheft.gov. This is the official U.S. government site for reporting identity theft and getting a personalized recovery plan. So I always say keep these things at your fingertips in case you have your information compromised, so that you are able to act fast and with a sense of urgency around your information.
Yeah, that's great information. Thanks for sharing those resources. And Jay, I know you have a lot of experience with that, with AARP and the Fraud Watch network. So tell us a little bit more about that and what that service is for people and how you help people in these, vulnerable situations.
Our helpline is open on weekdays. Our Fraud Watch Network helpline is open on weekdays, essentially during business hours. Here in Central Time, it's open from 7 in the morning until 7 p.m. It's answered by live people who are trained to help people navigate through what Derek just described. So if you have responded to a scammer's email and sent some personal information, what are the steps that you can take? They will help walk people through that to make sure that any money being stolen is stopped from being stolen, to help people change their passwords, to help them get new payment cards, credit cards, debit cards, if that's what they need to do. Derek also mentioned the Federal Trade Commission and the Identity Theft Recovery Guide that is available to people for free. They can download it online on the Federal Trade Commission's website, and it'll help make people make sure that they don't miss a step. One step I've heard that some people miss when they've had their identity stolen is they don't necessarily think to inform the IRS. So if their personal information has been compromised, a scammer or an identity thief, it doesn't take them very much personal information in order to file for a tax return in the name of someone who's had their information stolen. So notifying the IRS is the step to take. And again, folks can call our Fraud Watch Network helpline. It is 877-908-3360. Derek also mentioned just the how important it is to act quickly. It's not common the way that the scammers operate and get people to send their money through gift cards, through cryptocurrency transfers, through wire transfers. That money can't often be recovered unless the victims act very quickly. Even here in Minnesota, I was speaking with the county sheriff and some of the volunteers there in central Minnesota. And when they quickly informed the sheriff, he was able to get in the squad car and track down the delivery vehicle that had the cash, the box of cash being delivered in it. But if that, say that box of cash hit the distribution center and then is on an airplane and being picked up by the criminals somewhere, now it's too late. So acting quickly is so important. Same with wire transfers or other types of money transfers. It's possible that they could be delayed and paused, but not if too much time has gone past.
Yeah, that's great information to have and great resources. It's such a service that you provide, being able to walk through those steps. It's easy to think you've completed all the steps that you need, but you're kind of in this state of, maybe not the full mental clarity. So to have somebody calmly walk you through that all and get through all the steps, and especially that tip about the IRS, that's really great to know. That would be an easy one to overlook. So really great information about how to really protect yourself in this day and age of scammers and just how quickly they can act. But if we act quickly, we can sidestep some of the major issues with it. So great information, you guys. As always, we like to address some listener questions that come in around this. So you guys ready to answer a few live questions?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right. Question 1. What tools or maybe habits or actions should I start to use or do to keep safe from scammers? Jay, do you want to take lead on this first?
Yes. So my 3 steps that I encourage everyone to take and make sure that they're not going to lose any money to a scam. It's different than making sure that you're aware of the specific scams that you're going to be targeted by. That's important too. That reduces your risk for losing any money or even wasting your time dealing with the scammers. But I want to talk about how you can protect your money. And this is really based on the consumer protections we have in the United States. So number 1 is to be monitoring your financial accounts. Your job and my job as a consumer is to be paying attention to the transactions going through my bank account, my checking, my savings, my credit accounts, and any investment accounts that I have. When I do that and I report any suspicious activity or transactions that I have not authorized, now the bank is going to be doing an investigation and they become liable if I make those reports within a reasonable amount of time. Number 2, to close these loopholes on your life and keep your money safe from scammers, is to check your credit report periodically. You can do this for free. And the website where you can check your credit report or even freeze your credit is annualcreditreport.com. Don't just go online searching for free credit reports, because some of those websites are scams. Instead, it is annualcreditreport.com. This is where you will see the accounts that are open in your name and your payment history. And what you're looking for is any accounts that you don't recognize. Is there a credit card open in your name or a personal loan in your name that you don't recognize? If you see that, it could be identity theft, and you want to report that to the Credit Reporting Bureau. And then the third step, which really covers all of your money. So we've covered your money in your accounts and the consumer credit you have access to. We've covered your identity through credit reports. Now, the way to focus is to make sure you process all your payments through a payment that has consumer protections. And these would be your credit cards and debit cards, your personal checks, and automatic bill pay. That's where financial institutions have liability when you don't authorize your transactions. However, because of that, the scammers want to be paid in cash. They want to be paid in gift cards. They want to be paid with cryptocurrency, and increasingly also with peer-to-peer payment apps like Venmo and Zelle and Cash App, which are fine to use as long as you're sending money to someone you know and trust and can verify. But if it's a scammer that you're sending money to, it's very, very difficult to recover funds sent through those peer-to-peer apps.
Yeah, those are really great tips. Monitor your bank and your money in your bank, check your credit reports, and process your payments through reputable or consumer protected sites. So really great tips. Anything you'd like to add to that as well, Derek?
No, those are great points. I think those are important for protecting our information. And I just say in today's time, layered security matters. So using PINs, passwords, using a email account for certain accounts to send a digital code to validate that is actually you are very important in today's time. And I'll add that here at GrandPad, we built in several layers of protection for our users. For example, only approved contacts can reach you through the GrandPad. So scammers can't just call or message you out of the blue. Also, we limit pop-ups and advertising so that various scam websites can't draw our seniors away into a bad environment to begin to probe for their information. So it's a couple of ways that we make technology safer here at GrandPad and less stressful for our older adults.
Yeah, lets them stay online and be connected with a little bit of a safety net with it.
We are family. Sister Sledge. You know, for people listening who might feel they're out of touch with family or family members because they're not connected, not wired, as they say, unable to share emails, correspond with kids, grandkids, nieces and nephews, well, now they can be connected. You can be connected. The best part is it's easy to do. The solution is called GrandPad. GrandPad is a simple and secure tablet that connects you to your family and friends. No longer do you have to miss out on birthdays, graduations, weddings, other special occasions. Even everyday activities can all be shared on a GrandPad tablet. With GrandPad, you can view family photos and videos, play games, check on the weather, listen to your favorite music, send and receive emails, even voice emails, make outbound phone calls by just tapping a picture or a graphic on the screen. You don't have to take a computer course to do this. GrandPad's simple month-to-month, no-risk, no-contract membership includes everything you need to connect with your digital family. It comes with all the support that you need to stay in touch. Visit grandpad.net, just the way it sounds, grandpad.net. See how this simple device can be an incredibly powerful way to share all of life's little and big moments. See what a difference it can make in your life, the life of a parent or relative who would love to be in touch.
Question 2. How have scams targeting older adults changed in the last few years?
I can take
this one?
Sure.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, I can take this one. I think the most important and prominent thing is that scammers are more patient with our seniors to get their information. I think in our senior demographic, they come from a trusting generation. Many of our older adults grew up in a time where business and personal interactions were more trust-based. Everybody could walk into the bank and talk to the teller, know them by first name, know the managers by first name. It was all built on relationships. And I think that scammers now know that that is slowly becoming a thing of the past. So social isolation is one of the primary points that scammers like to use. They know that some seniors may get lonely and they're susceptible to easy emotional manipulation. So that conversation could go on for 30 minutes to an hour before they actually start trying to maneuver and trick you out of giving up your personal PII data. So I think that's, for me, is one of the most primary ways things have changed, is that scammers know these things and they're willing to be patient with you in order to get that information.
Yeah, very interesting. Jay, anything that you have noticed in the populations and situations that you've worked with?
Most definitely. And much of it is related to technology from my perspective, um, whether it is online video conferencing software that before the pandemic, very few people were familiar with it or had experience using it. Now, because folks have it downloaded on their devices, if a scammer sends a video conference invitation, more people are able to join that meeting and perhaps make a mistake and share their personal information through a video meeting. That's just one example. Also, those alternative payment methods and the rise of people dealing in cryptocurrency. That just makes those, like Derek said, it used to be you could look someone in the eye and make a financial decision. Now we're doing it in cyberspace where it's not easy to determine what's a scam from what's real. And I'll say, if people turn off their ears when they hear cryptocurrency, it's not just people who believe that they're buying cryptocurrency who are getting scammed on cryptocurrency. The scammers might say, hey, your monthly energy bill is late and you need to go down to the gas station and put your cash money in the kiosk or the ATM machine there. And really what that machine is a cryptocurrency kiosk where it takes your cash and sends cryptocurrency to some criminal on the other side of the world. So just be aware of those crypto ATMs. It's a big red flag if someone asks you to put money there. I would also like to touch on artificial intelligence, and this is mostly because there's some sensationalism that isn't helpful around deep fake voices about your family members who are known to you, and you hear their voice on the phone. And that's just not an efficient way for scammers to be operating. The technology is easy enough for them to use. And if someone knows you have a lot of money in the bank, sure, they might create a fake voice of someone you know giving you instructions. It's not likely because it's very time intensive for the scammers. Instead, what I think AI and which is artificial intelligence, is doing for the scammers is, one, it helps them target people, find people and target people, so it can sort of do a book report on an individual and all the information that is available about them online. Then the technology can help develop the perfect scam for the criminal to target that individual. It helps develop the content. So whether that could be a video recording that tells you that you ought to make a certain investment, or it scares you that your social security number is associated with a crime somewhere and you need to respond to this, the AI can develop that content. And not only that, but it can be replicated over and over again. So one little scammer all by himself working with his organized criminal operation can target hundreds and thousands of people all at once. It's all automated, and it allows them to be just that much more effective. And it's scary, I know, but I think the most important thing we can do today in response to that artificial intelligence is just know that it exists, and that if you're seeing something online, that it may not be true and it needs to be verified before people take action, certainly before they provide any information or send any money.
Yeah, that's really great information to have, Jay. I think you're right. We hear so much about deep fakes with the voices and things, that's what we're really on the alert for when there's other avenues that AI is being used, and that just being skeptical of it all and taking that step back and really looking at it before you share anything or go too far into it's important.
Right. It used to be, take the Nigerian prince scam, for example. I think a lot of people are familiar with that. Even 20 years ago or more, people would get a letter in the mail and it said, you are entitled to some money from Nigeria, and I'm a prince and I'm going to send you $1 million. And it would have all these spelling errors and you could tell it wasn't real. Now those letters and fake emails, they are very hard to recognize because the artificial intelligence will write them for people who they don't speak English. They're not from Minnesota, or they're not from your community either, but the AI software can make it look like it's coming from your neighborhood.
Yeah, it does add another layer into that scam looking so legitimate that it makes it really hard to recognize when it's not. So you talked a lot about how the AI can really target and kind of create the right scam for that target. It actually is amazingly tying right into our third question here, where our caller asks, are there certain times of the year or like tax seasons or holidays when scams tend to spike? So we've talked about AI maybe targets a certain person at a certain time. Are there certain times of the year that we see more scams or different scams?
Yeah, I can speak to that. I think definitely during the holidays, right? This is a time for families to get together. And when you talk about AI, deep fakes are used a lot during this time. And one of the primary scams during the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, is the grandparent scam, which is one of the most emotionally manipulative and financially devastating types of fraud targeting older adults because it exploits the deep sense of love, trust, and the urgency grandparents feel toward their family members, especially those grandchildren. So in the grandparent scam, basically a fraudster poses as a grandchild or sometimes a law enforcement officer or a lawyer or a medical worker claiming that the grandchild is in urgent trouble. They need money immediately. So the scammer creates this panic for the older senior that their loved one is in need of help. Or when we talk about AI and the deep fake, they may get the voice of one of the grandchildren, and it may sound something like, Grandma, Grandpa, it's me. I was in an accident. I'm in jail. Please don't tell mom or dad, but I need money right away. Can you send it here? And those are the type things that seniors need to be careful of during this time of year, because individuals know that it's an emotional time of year. Families are normally together during this time of year, but there are times where family can't quite get together. So they will play off of these avenues.
Yeah, such good things to know and look out for. Is there anything you have seen also, Jay, like in your experience with this, anything that you want to add to that from what you've seen from your experience with working with fraud prevention?
For sure. Right now, it's November and it's open enrollment season for people's Medicare insurance and their Medicare supplements. And during this time of year, similar to tax season or other times of year, but this time of year, we see a lot of Medicare scams coming around. They say you need to verify your information or get your new Medicare card. And this year, there are many changes with Medicare. So folks ought to be calling 1-800-Medicare. Or I live in Minnesota. We have a state-run hotline that people can call and get advice on making their elections for their Medicare benefits. And then I will also highlight that through our Fraud Watch helpline, every year there's one specific holiday where we get the most reports. And it's not Thanksgiving and it's not Christmas, but it is Black Friday because we're closed on Thanksgiving and Christmas. But the day after Thanksgiving, that's the day after the family has all come together and they find out that someone in the family is getting scammed and they need to figure out what to do next. And so we're glad that families come together and figure things out. But it also demonstrates that our isolation from each other is really making us all more vulnerable. So hopefully by listening to this podcast, it might inspire you. Don't wait till Thanksgiving this year. Call some of your relatives, make sure they're doing okay, and maybe talk to them about what you know now about financial fraud and all these scams.
That's really good advice. That's interesting to note that kind of phenomenon. But I think that's probably right. You know, people kind of do the holiday check-in and then get caught up on everything that's happened. And then, and as we talked about earlier, time is of the essence sometimes. And if you've waited too long, that might, that window might have closed. So it's good to just check in now and then more frequently to see what's happening. So with that sets us up great. Last time, Derek, you used a really great acronym to kind of help set the stage for slowing down, thinking things through. Can you walk us through that acronym again to just kind of help folks have something in the front of mind to stay safe?
Sure. Here at GrandPad, we use the STOP acronym. And basically, we like to use this so that it helps seniors keep track of the steps that they should take, things that they should be aware of. And families, they should also regularly check in on their senior loved ones, not just for companionship, but to help monitor for these suspicious activities. So the acronym is STOP. The S stands for suspicious contacts. Always beware when you're talking to people online, especially if you don't know them in real life. The T stands for threats or urgency. A common strategy with scammers is that you need to invest money right now or do anything right now, otherwise you'll lose out. It's always better to take your time to verify something is true before you give over any money or sensitive information. If it's genuine, they can wait. The O stands for outlandish promises. Remember, if something seems too good to be true, it probably is. And lastly, the P stands for payment requests. Scammers are always after information or money. If you have a genuine relationship with someone, they shouldn't be pressuring you to spend thousands of dollars or send money right away without you validating the information. If you see any of these warning signs, remember to stop interacting.
Yeah, that's such a great acronym to just keep in mind so that you can slow down. As we've talked about, like in that moment, there's a lot of emotional piece to it. There's a lot of urgency to it. So to be able to slow down and try to think things through is a great way to really help keep that front of mind. So before we wrap up, I'd love for you guys to, give us any last piece of advice you want. And Jay, maybe share the information of how they can get a hold of you at the fraud hotline. So Derek, I'll start with you. What's one piece of information you'd like to leave people with today?
Absolutely. I would say trust your instincts. If something feels rushed, secretive, or too good to be true, that's your cue to pause, check it out before responding.
Yeah, great tip. Jay, what about you?
An isolated person who's making financial decisions all by themselves is exactly what the scammers are looking for. And they use the tricks that Derek was describing. Don't tell mom and dad. Don't tell your bank about this. Don't tell anyone. They try to isolate people. But a lot of us are already halfway there, not connecting with families, taking it all upon ourselves to make financial decisions or react to what we're being told through a scam email or a text message. So that's my encouragement for folks is if you have people that you trust, if you have your family, your neighbors, your friends that you can trust to have a discussion about your finances, that's how we can protect and work together to fight against all of this fraud that's happening. And you can also call us at AARP and we have folks standing by to help you think through those financial decisions or the scams that you see. Our helpline is open on weekdays, and it's 877-908-3360. And folks can also get more information online from AARP and our Fraud Watch Network, aarp.org/Fraud Watch Network.
Yeah, that's great. It's so great to have those resources. And like you said, getting people alone and isolated is where they really can get them at their most vulnerable. So if we stick together as a community and band together with our resources, we can keep each other safe and informed and, get ahead of those scammers and keep them away from us where we want them to be, far, far away. So thanks you guys so much for being here. And, also we at GrandPad work really hard to have connections that are safe and simple and stress-free for older adults with some of the built-in features that we have, like the trusted contact list and easy to use design and our live customer support. Again, being able to reach out to somebody to ask questions and get help when you need it is so important. And we want to get everybody connected, but be safe while we're doing it. So if you want to learn more about GrandPad, you can visit grandpad.net or call 1-800-904-9412. Thanks, Jay. Thanks, Derek, for being here. And thank all of you for listening. We hope you'll join us again next time. Stay safe out there.
Thank you.
Safe and Sound is a monthly podcast presented by GrandPad and the Layton Podcast Network. Find this and other podcasts on demand at WinonaRadio.com.